We're live. Episode 92. I'm Cineo, joined as ever. Affluent. How are you doing?
Joined for real. Nine Deuce. It's a it's just wild that 30 years ago was 1992. just it's just a different world. I almost feel like yeah, so much going on. I'm doing well, and I think for me right now this week. See, I thought Mortal Kombat was 90. Not Mortal Kombat 2 was 92, but it was 93. Because I didn't really get a good run at Mortal Kombat 1. I might have got Mortal Kombat 2 later, or I might have been playing, really got into maybe the arcade in 92. But Mortal Kombat 1 had that that blood code, right? Where you could put in a secret sequence of button pressings, button pushing, and unlock a version of the game that would allow the characters to bleed as they got damaged. Basically, spout blood as they got damaged. And I don't know how I got here, but it had me thinking about authenticity.
Episode 92 of the Lyrical Ones podcast.
Episode 92. I'm Alfluent. I'm here with my co-host Cineo, and since Cineo is Wednesday, and as we talk about authenticity, I want to check in with you first, because March has been busy for me, and I don't really like to use the word busy, so I would say it's been a full month, and we got 15 days left. We at the halfway point for real. Um, so it's an interesting month so far. How you living?
It's interesting. It's so interesting. March is March. This March of all Marches
Only one
is,
like it.
is the only one like it in my whole entire existence. There is no other March that I've had many similar marches. This one is so distinct, so different than all the other marches. And I will I will join you on your phrasing of having a full month. It has been a full month. I have had many learning experiences. For those that can't tell, if you look at the last episode compared to this episode, there's a difference. And I would like to shout out our great producer of producers, Cross. Cross definitely, man, Cross delivers, and this is one of those deliveries. So it is one of those things where there is so many changes and differences, and walking in my purpose or marching in my purpose has been profoundly humbling, joyful, and enlightening. Um, I feel like I've learned so much within this short window of time, and I've done so much within this full month. This month that has been very full, and I am working to keep it full. I'm looking to make it full. Had a great conversation today with some folks planning and building for the future. This is so shallow and is a part of me that is so encapsulated in the most horrible ways. Nike Air Penny 2s is making a comeback. I don't know how I'm going to figure this out, but it is definitely motivating. It is definitely a push over the edge of certain obstacles and challenges to accomplish some stuff this month. So yeah, it's been full and it's been great and grand and it's been so different. It's been such a different way of life. Um, leaning into a sense of living that I've always dreamed about. People always say you got to take that leap of faith. Now, of course, sometimes when you take that leap of faith, sometimes maybe you need to do a little parachute. Maybe you need, but what that parachute is determined by you. Others can't determine it for you. It can't always be what others dictate or say or mention or believe. It's what you believe. And so, yeah, I got my little parachute together for myself that works for me and took a big leap of faith.
For sure.
Free foe out the dough. So yeah, that's March right now. That's how March is looking. And isn't this International like History Month? Isn't this where we
Yeah.
celebrate women and figures that mean so much to us? That I mean, for I want to say a lot of us, a woman brought us into this world. So take that
You
into
know,
account.
at the same time, we call it history. So,
Personally,
it sometimes I feel it's always best, to tell her story, through her. Um, and any month we could be celebrating Women's History, right? And you know, I had this pro woman hoodie before um, Women's History Month came up, but as I think about a parachute, right? I think about mine looking a lot like the plastic bag that I tied to the Ninja Turtles as I dropped them from the stairs, the top of the stairs, because we in the Bay, so a lot of places got 2 stories out here. Um, or you had an apartment building and you had a flight of stairs to your apartment building. So you had either you drop it out the window and go down and get it from the front of the house, or you drop it down the stairs. Like whatever it is you was doing, you tie one bag loop on one shoulder, tie the other one on the other shoulder. Then, nice intentional toss into the air, hoping that the updraft will catch that plastic bag, and you can watch your action figure or toy or whatever you had fall with style, like Buzz Lightyear. And I think, one is new shoes coming out is not a surface thing, right? We are always looking at different ways to identify ourselves, right? Identity is fluid at times, it's malleable, and what resonates with us from one year to the next, right, has a lot to do with our lived experiences, right? Our nostalgia, our memories, different moments in time. And so when I think about authenticity, I say, okay, well, that's that's part of it, right? It's like it's not a necessarily a surface thing that I like whatever I like. It's more like, okay, I have to find a way to be myself always, and that may look different for somebody else, but for me, I'm reminded of a quote by Brene Brown. It says, "Authenticity embraces wholehearted living and loving, even if we are struggling with the shame and fear of not being good enough, and especially when the joy is so intense that we are afraid to feel it." And in the context of a male's authenticity and my identity, like I wanted to grow my hair out for a long time. And in that longing or that anticipation or whatever it is, now that I'm here at this length, I can say, right, that I was always going to get there, right? In hindsight, I was always going to arrive at this point. Um, and every stagnation or step backwards or misstep either expedited or delayed this arrival. Um, right? But the time passes the same. And as I learn to just be in this space of, oh man, I wish I'd have grown it sooner, and move into, I'm so happy I'm here now, and loving this moment that I'm in, and trying to focus on that joy. Like, oh man, this is what does it mean for me to enjoy this? What does it mean for me to be happy in this? Um, while also not being afraid for that joy to dissipate, subside, um, kind of like the tide of the ocean, kind of roll back away from the shore of my mind and heart. Like, oh well, that was that. Now what do I do with it? How do I how do I live with that joy, keep that joy, and feel proud of it, but not embrace the fear of not being good enough. And I think what I've appreciated about this ride into authenticity and self actualization is that, yo, I'm not I'm not doing the clean cut, well manicured twist. I'm kind of in nature a little bit more with mine. Um, and at some point, I want to experience a free form growth where I let my hair do what it wants to. Um, and right as I live in that, as I um, love myself in that, or at least love the experience, love the idea of myself, love the idea of who I'm becoming, and the idea that I was always going to get here. I try to be motivated by the future me who's calling me forward, who is better than me. The future me who says, keep going, wait till you see what's coming next. The future me who says, oh yeah, we got past that. The future me who says, oh yeah, this mistake was a tough one. This challenge was a tough one, but we're gonna move forward. The future me who is stronger, wiser, maybe has a few more jokes, maybe has a few more lessons in his bag. He's got a little bit longer length to his hair. Vision may be different, not just in my eyesight, but in my clairvoyance and my intuition. The vision is different. I think the goal is very much redefining what freedom means to me. Um, and then right now, maybe I have 10, 15 hoodies, but maybe in the future I just got five. I don't, I don't know that life right now. But I do remember that life at one point where I didn't have that many hoodies. I think I remember having 3 hoodies. I remember going school shopping for my, what is this? Like my third year in college, third, fourth year in college. And I had a little bit of money. I was coming back to Northern California. And I was like, let me get some bows. Let me get some tees. Let me get some forces. And I think I got a gray hoodie. I didn't have a black hoodie then. And I already had a navy blue hoodie at one point. So I had just had 2 hoodies. And life was good. And now I'm like, can I go back to that? I possibly could. But now I got multi-use things. I'm also living a different life. Um, but again, right, that living and loving wholeheartedly, um, and embracing that even while I'm struggling with the shame and fear of not being good enough. And especially when the joy is so intense that I'm afraid to feel it. And I'm thinking about how does my fear to feel joy show up? Right? What does it look like when I say self-sabotage or get in my own way? What does that look like for me now versus 10 years ago, versus 12 years ago, versus 16 years ago, at you know at 20 years old? And the self-saboteur in me now is is moving in a way of learning the balance of leading and following after leading for so long, um, after following for so long. So moving from following to leading to following to leading to following and leading. Um, and I think the theme of me playing or participating in a lot of different sports and understanding the identity of a team player contributes to some humility, some compassion, some empathy, and wanting the rest of the team to feel valued, that they are also scoring for us, that they are also contributing to our wins, and they are not solely responsible for our losses. And it's making this month full. Like it's yes, it's a unique March for sure. But you know me, like I always say, any day you see me is the best day of my life because it's the only one I got. So I'm holding on and grasping this one while releasing some other things. What you holding on to? What you releasing?
What I'm holding on to is holding on.
Dreams.
It's pretty much you,
Oh,
man. Say it. It's the truth. Because I let go of so much in the past couple weeks. I dropped. I let. I just threw it out. There was so much to let go of. Speaking to what you were saying around the hoodies, the reason it hit so many different notes, I just wanted to say I remember in sixth grade sharing a locker in gym class with one of my friends, classmates, Daniel at the time, and he left a green Russell Athletics hoodie in there, and I never had a hoodie. Like I never had a hoodie. I would always get one winter coat. I remember I get one winter coat that would last me all winter. That would be it. So
oh,
anything else that I got was extra. It'd be like I remember one time my
I
winter
don't think
coat.
I had a hoodie either in elementary school or middle school.
Always wanted one, right? Always wanted one. I always remember having a Norax. That's what I remember having. Windbreakers with hoods. But having a hoodie, I remember he left it in there and the last day of school, I'm like, you gonna take your hoodie? And he was like, man, I don't want that. I wore that hoodie for the next 3 years, like
Swag.
every day, like to the point that the where you put your hands in your pocket. Those that know me know that the hands in the pocket, I used to rip it off because my green hoodie, when that happened because it got so worn out that the you couldn't put your hands where the pouch is. So the flap, it would just be a flap like hanging from the hoodie. So every hoodie I got from that point forward, like I would say after I was like 19, I remember I would buy hoodies and take the flap and just rip the pouch so it would just be a flap in front of the hoodie. And this green hoodie, like wore that thing every day I was at home. Like whenever I was at home, I was in the green hoodie. Like there's pictures of me in the house, green hoodie. I had that green hoodie from 6th grade up until maybe about 17, and then I got my second hoodie that of course I wore every day. It was a Nike's hoodie from Mervin's. It was a navy blue, real simple. I didn't like all this,
Hey,
everything. It was just one navy blue hoodie and I wore that thing till the cuffs, you could like separate the cuffs because there was no thread to keep the cuff together. It was split in the middle.
oh
So
yeah,
I was wearing that thing till it like everybody likes looking like their clothes is vintage and has been worn. No, I really was wearing my hoodie till it got to that point where it's just holes, and I was like, "This is all I got." Like I'm gonna hold on to this. I remember rocking that thing every. I remember there's photo shoots with that hoodie. Like that hoodie was my everything. And yeah, once I got a job and started getting paid on a regular basis, then I was able to like buy a couple more hoodies, get my black Pro Bay hoodie. The Bay Area staple.
the
Um,
black hoodie.
the black Bay Area Pro Bay hoodie. Like I remember I got that. I got one from Copeland's of all places. They had it at Copeland's downtown San Francisco, and I bought a backpack because I needed a backpack, and that was my come up. After that, gray hoodie after gray hoodie after gray hoodie. Because the black hoodie at the time, like man, it became like a association for the boys for the
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the for the
Oh yeah. Yes,
you know
it definitely was.
they was trying to
For those
they was
affiliated,
they was like, "Oh, we gonna gang injunction y'all," and I was like, "I know gang. I don't know what you mean by that. I know gang." So I was like, "I'm wearing gray hoodies then, gray hoodie all mine all day, because ain't nobody else out here with no gray hoodie." So yeah, you hit a nerve because even saying from having 10 to having three, like me talking about the pennies, moving in with my now wife when we decided to move in, I gave up about 6, 7 pairs of shoes that I miss right now, which is why those 6, 7 pairs of shoes is like they play in my mind where it's like, where are they? Oh, that's right. I let them go. Right. If there's some worth letting go, let it go. There's some 6, 7 of them. It was more than 6 and 7, but the 6 and 7 I cared about out of maybe what the 14 pairs I had, I was like,
you know, this was not planned. I just seem to have so much stuff right here near me.
you'd be like, who has that bag where you could just pull
So,
anything out?
oh, what was that? Oh, dang, that's gonna kill me to not remember this bag. Oh,
Like
who
niggas just
had
reach
the
in their
sack?
bag and just pull out
Um,
whatever they need.
is this is the sack with the rope?
Yeah, it's a sack with a rope. You got it about that. They pull that thing, anything they want, anything they need in that bag, they pull it out. That's you. Every time, every 92 episodes, one thing's for sure. Al Fluent has like those Acme black holes where it's just be everything right next to him. He just reached down into the flow and he pulls out something that's just totally whatever's necessary for the conversation. But in letting go, um, it's so in the physical sense, right? Clothes. You we all will like me, one thing, like your hair, right? You about to go Super Saiyan 3. I just want to know what Napa look like when he goes Super Saiyan. Let alone what Napa look like when he goes Super Saiyan 3. Does his eyebrows go yellow? Does he grow hair when he goes to 3? Does his eyebrows grow? Does his mustache grow? I just want to know. But beyond that, yeah, like letting go on the emotional, social, spiritual side is like it's it's important to know when to let go. It's important when to know to let go so you can fill up, so your month can be full. Because I see and I've heard from so many people, I've talked to so many people where their identity is in conflict with what the path in front of them is, the path they're currently on. At any given moment, right? That people be like, stay in your lane. If you need to get over,
Mm.
get over. If you need a signal, you need to exit. Do it because you are you're the one that determines what the destination is, let alone what the journey's going to be. If you're listening to this isn't to say what you don't have access to. This is to say if you do, if you have the ability, do something. I have a belief that it's a ripple effect that by you choosing and leaning into what you need or what you want, that helps others because someone's going to see that and witness it, and you'll be able to show them happiness. You'll be able to show them what it means to take care of yourself, to have that relationship, to love you is to decide what's best for you. For some, it's being a doctor. For some, it's being a lawyer. For some, it's figuring it out. But you have to go through that journey and process to see what it is for you because a lot of people that I've talked to, they're currently in a situation where it's not for them. It's what was available to them at the time. It's what was most accessible. As you learn, as you develop skills, you start to realize that they transfer in other ways. I sat and had a meeting today with somebody and they were like, how do you think this way? And I told them, it's like, I've been doing this. I'm offering you all these solutions, right? The difference is that now I'm doing it with a new sense and grasp of my own time.
Yeah.
It's only the only difference is I have a different grasp of what my time is and what it's worth, the value of my time. And I'm not saying it's easy because people be like, "Oh man, you did this so fast." I've been doing this for 20 years. I should be able to do it extremely quick. This is a refinement and skill set that has not been something that was manifested in a month or a year. This is something that I have painstakingly been able to execute on. Every time I'm in the space of creativity and ideas and visualization, it's effortless because I'm always in that state of creativity and visualization. I choose that for myself because I understand the need for my form to be at its peak or at its greatest level of output. I have to refine that through practice. So, as much as I say, lean into your thing and do you, really know who you are and what you're doing
Yeah.
and master what it is that you do. Don't be afraid of the days when it don't feel good. Don't be afraid of the times when it's tough. If you really if you really love it, then learn to love the hard work to keep it. Because that same thing will be applied when it comes to your own personal crisis. When those days are bad, you're going to get through them. I just watched Steve Harvey. He was talking about it and it sounded so dope. And I couldn't help but share. Steve Harvey
Mm.
really came through clutch with these verbals. But it's so
Would you
real.
would you say that in your execution over the past 20 years that you had an intention to be able to offer quick solutions or a, a quick response or a quick process, and that the whole time that you have been working on your craft, was there an intention to be more efficient, more time efficient with your work?
So the intention was developed. There was phase one. Phase one was competition. It was competitive in nature. So, in developing and creating music, I was like, I didn't have access to a studio to be a producer. I wanted to be a producer. So I was like, if I rap good enough, somebody's going to give me opportunity to go into their studio so I can get access. And it was fun, right? It was like, oh, we just gonna freestyle and battle each other, and we're just gonna humiliate each other as friends, as peers. But once it started getting more attention and people were become, start to expect you to do these things, then you realize you got to do it more to get better at it. And you don't even think about doing it more because you just want to explore and see what happens. So you're going through the exploration process of what is going to be this thing, right? It wasn't like I just all of a sudden woke up one day and was rapping. It was like this slow development of appreciation of music. And then next thing you know, me and my friends are battling each other. I beat them, they beat me.
Mm.
Here we are building on our skill set out of competition. So when you're able to think on your toes and the improvise or improvisation of the ability to make a song or to make lyrics or to make something that makes sense in the moment, on top of being given and instructed on public speaking and literature and access of words and how you use them. When it came to music and being in the studio, there was this idea that somebody could walk in right now, right? We're in a program, but someone could walk in and be like, all right, what you got for me? And it's like either you gonna make something on the spot or you have something. Can you do
Mm.
both? How much can you do, right? And then it becomes the intention of, well, how many different avenues can you go down in a fast manner, right? Where you're able to produce results that are not rushed, right? That you, again, there's people out there who have a level of expertise where something that would take me 6 hours will take them 10 minutes because they have a mastery of their skill set, right? So, with
Right.
the intention of writing and having the ability to write long form, right? Which means I'm not bound by time, I'm only bound by my level of comfort with my creative output. But also, parallel to that, making the intentional time to write in a very fast manner where the two start to become infused as one. Where, yeah, some songs may take a while to develop, some songs, they're just going to come, right?
Right.
More times than enough for me, oh, they here, they coming, right? And a lot of me letting go helps even more in freeing up that creative ability to dive deeper into that skill set. So the intentionality, a lot of that came from, yes, being prompted by others, but then I also passed it on to those around me to refine our skill set as a collective. Because the better you are as an artist or a writer, the better we are, right? Because I'm going to hear and be inspired and moved by something you do. But if we don't have the skills to push each other, then what happens? We end up being stagnated. We end up being complacent. We end up being plateaued. Whereas for me, and even saying with the idea of a team, the team
Mm.
dynamic, I am propelled to see others do good, which pushes me further to go harder, which pushes me to go to my extremes, to push my limits and boundaries. Because oh, what's going on? We got Jonathan Salishi swinging up to the max and spiraling down to the extremes, trying to stay in my Goldilocks zone, consistently flowing on the stream of life. Coming through with some bars off of Facebook, swinging up
Ooh.
to the max and spiraling down to the extremes, trying to stay in my Goldilocks zone, consistently flowing on the stream of life. That is that is paramount to everything that I'm saying. Balance.
Right.
Push yourself. Know when to rest. Know when to retreat. Know when to find your time to gain some grace, but push yourself. Go as far as you can, and it's intentional. It became even more intentional as the days went on, and I found myself in more arenas where people are seeking a skill set, and time is of the essence. So, to me, a lot of times I'm able to get into the flow state or get in the zone, right, or get into my what is Goku's ultra instinct, and it just happens. It just happens because I know the door that's needed to unlock because I've walked through that door so many times that it's not something that I have to force. It's not something I have to fight for. Now there are times when life will try and throw things your way where that door may be inaccessible for a period of time, but it's
Right.
not forever. And that's when you have to figure out how to navigate and structure things so you can get access to that door, because a lot of times that door was my sense of retreat, my sense of sanctuary, right? But it was also me refining a skill. It was also me refining a sense of ability that I have, right? You call it talent, I call it hard work and dedication. And in that, it was rejuvenating to impress myself. I'm the one making it. But then when I look back and I'm like, man, no crash and burn or burn out here. I hope at least to not fall again, because gravity dictates what goes up. No, no, no. I can't go there. Not again. Joy, please don't run from me. We coming in with some heat tonight. This is some.
Go ahead,
It's
Jan.
real, right? It is a thing where if you're not mindful of refueling, of really making sure that you have what you need to push yourself to those limits, to know what the balance is, to know how far to go, right? Right here, no crash and burn or burn out here. I hope at least to not fall again, because gravity dictates what goes up. No, no, I can't go there. Not again. Joy, please don't run from me. It's so real that what is the fuel that keeps the vessel going? And are you mindful of what it is that's going to keep you within the bounds of sustainability ultimately, right? Sustainability is the ultimate need, right? The balance and the ability to sustain that balance, because gravity is the number one law I'm trying to break. It may not seem like it to others, but to me, I see that as a limit that I must surpass. Gravity. Because yes, it can dictate for many, but for some, once you learn what it is, then you're able to do something beyond what you know.
That's right. I think when you talk about rejuvenation, it reminds me of the 7 types of rest. From emotional, spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, uh, creative, creative rest, and there's one more, uh, sensory, sensory rest. And like my sensory rest, right, looks like sleep for the most part. Um, my spiritual rest looks like me moving in nature or being at church weekly. My creative rest looks like me playing video games or me consuming media. My mental rest uh, looks like me like using my body through exercise, or light exercise like yoga. My physical rest looks like word games or being still. Sometimes it looks like even moving still. Um, Light activity. My my emotional rest looks like silence, um, where I get to reflect inward, um, and then release. Um, and sometimes my emotional rest looks like being around others, um, and allowing them to support me. My social rest from that looks like the time alone. Sometimes it looks like, again, me playing video games. Sometimes it looks like me reading, um, playing Wordle. Uh, I don't know if you play Wordle or you do Wordle. Um, is it a survey? But um, spending time, you know, making sure that I get what I need to be my full self, my most authentic, my most true, my most brilliant, bright, glowing, radiant self not just to be visible, but also to be full, to be alive. And it shows up in a lot of different ways that I am always trying to explore and say, oh, this is something that I can gravitate toward as a part of my identity, like a new hoodie. Like, oh, this this fits not just from a physical standpoint, but from an identity standpoint. And every form of rest may have me active somewhere else, and that's okay. But I have to be in a space where I'm acknowledging, saying, "Oh, this is the type of rest I need right now," and that means acknowledging where I might be overwhelmed. It's like physically I'm done, mentally I may be done, spiritually I'm maybe invigorated and rejuvenated and willing to give. But from a sensory standpoint, I may need to rest. From a social standpoint, I may need to rest. And acknowledging, saying, "Oh man, I'm really overwhelmed. I gotta shut this down." And being okay with that, not feeling shame, not having any fear that I don't feel good enough. But again, that I can go and, like you say, right, just go back to my craft, knowing that it is something that rejuvenates me while also calling me higher, challenging me. And whether there's competition in the form of someone else, or competition of a challenge, or competition of being better than who I was yesterday, that competition can motivate me too. Like I said, the person who um, I will be tomorrow, the person who I will be next week, calls me forward, and I must answer that call. And the longer I take to answer that call, right, the more I am learning or relearning on my way to becoming that person, right? That sometimes the longer the journey is, or I could say, I'm going to be this person tomorrow, and then I'm going to be this person the next day, or I'm going to be this person the following day. And each day that I say tomorrow, I'm going to be more, I'm going to be greater, I'm going to be better rested, I'm going to be better motivated, I'm going to be uh, more intentional, more compassionate, more gentle, more firm, more proactive. I am shaping that person in my choices. And just that idea of, right, the phrase, no, no, I can't go there, not again. Right, as gravity, right, tries to pull me, ground me, when I want to be free from that. And it's funny because I've been watching Attack on Titan, right? And we had a point where the person who has been talking about the same thing from the beginning of the series has had a one track mind. It's been laser focused. And the character has been calling himself forward, calling themselves forward from the beginning of the series. Say, if I could write a letter to myself 83 years from now when I'm 120 and or 119, about to turn 120, and I write the letter in the form of my memories. Say, this is what I remember about your life. Some of it is your past, some of it is your future, but they're all my memories. Right? Would that scare me? Would that motivate me? Would that galvanize and strengthen my resolve, right? To a point that I have no doubt that I can be who I want to be, who I choose to be in an unwavering manner, right? If I know that all my parachute means for me is that I'll keep moving forward, is that at age 119, I will get there, I will arrive there, right? If that serves as my parachute, like I said, mine is more like imaginary, mine is more like plastic bag, right? It's more like a ghost. It's not so much tangible, right? It's an idea. My parachute is an idea that I'll keep going, right? Regardless of what the valley looks like, regardless of what gravity has in store for me, right? I know that there's an updraft and I will continue to fall with style. And so that parachute for me is that idea that I'm going to become the person I set out to be because that person has confirmed that I that I'm headed that way, and to continue that path, and that there's the story arc for me is not one of change. It's not a journey of I started somewhere and I'm now somewhere different, but more so, like I said earlier in this episode, that I was always going to be this. My hair was always going to end up this long. And at 120, I was always going to get there. And I didn't actually change. Every choice I made was getting me there. And I became more myself, right? So did I learn or did I remember?
I
Episode
mean,
92.
that's so true. Jonathan also said earlier, freedom to fail, and I wanted to touch on that because it is important to destigmatize, to take off the stigma of failure. Failure is so necessary. It is not an emotional experience unless that's what has been prompted to you by others. It's not like if a child fails, it's not until an adult yells, intervenes in a way that makes them feel something other than a learning experience, right? They add in the emotional element. Where now it's no longer me learning as a child, it's now a social, emotional experience that I'm also going through as I experience the failure. I've said it so many times about the concept of people saying, you don't know that, right? Not, oh, let me inform you, let me help you. Do you want to know? Do you do, can I help you? Right? It becomes this thing where failure is necessary. It's not an emotional experience unless it's for some it has to rework itself to not be an emotional experience, but it's not an emotional experience to fail. It is learning. It is learning what you need to do in order to achieve the outcome you're seeking. That's what failure is there for. It's to help you reduce the number of variables, to remove extra to get to what it is you're trying to get to. That's what failure is for, right? Jonathan also said to title this, just keep swimming. Because in some ways, a planet made of water for water to inhibit, which more or less is a reflection of our own bodies, right? We are of the water. That's what we are, right? And also, Jonathan said, next time I come through, I got to be taking notes. Professor Al Fluent in the house, right? It's something where we have to be aware and mindful of the fact that you know it's it's so important. It's so important to know. Well, in order to know, you got to learn, and taking that time to learn, taking that time for discovery, making the time to refine and define, right? Once you define it, then you can refine the definition. You can start to get to the core essence of what's the most concentrated parts of what it is that you need to know for yourself. It's such a don't sleep on you, right? Sleep
Mm.
with the intention of restoring and resting and repairing, right? Not with the idea of getting away from, because sleep is just going to bring you right back to. So using sleep as a necessary component to enhance and build on what you got in front of you, not to depart and take away from. Because, like I said, it's so it's simple. It's the intentionality. It's the awareness of what is the why you do what you do, the what is and how is done in every facet of who you are. You talking about the parachute provokes the memories of the cheap little toy with the strings that you could get at the 99-cent store or in a
No, no, no,
capsule
no,
in a
no,
capsule
no,
toy.
no, no, none of that. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the plastic bag.
I mean, I
Not
used to do the plastic bag too with the GI Joes
yeah,
off the top
yeah.
tiers.
We didn't really have the capsules like that.
I mean,
Sometimes we,
I had me some
I
capsules.
seen them, I seen them around, but I seen the vestiges. I seen the corpses of the capsules.
Oh yeah, you
People,
definitely capsule
you
toy.
see, yeah, the capsule toy where somebody's parachute was off to the side, and
Oh,
then
man,
the toy was somewhere
man,
else.
I seen that a whole lot. Like the plastic just flying in the wind and the toy just sitting there unobtained, unconcerned. It's just like, yeah, thinking about all those aspects of, yeah, what do you need for you? And how do you best refine, define the process of what you need for yourself? Because we march on. It's going to happen. Time's going to change. Sun's going to be here a little bit longer. What you going to do with it? Um, I will say it's such a great feeling when you the one that really, like, I notice people have told me too. They were like, man, you speak differently. The things you say and how you saying is different. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't have the same variables in my life. The same components don't exist. The same pillars aren't there. It's such a illuminating, gracious process to be able to have autonomy, to have control. It's so like it's wild how much the world will like get in the way of you having access and control over what you need, right? There's so many different elements, right? Going back to that sense of identity and the sense of what makes you who you are. It's so easy to get one to sound like or think like, hey, this thing, is this thing adding value or is this here to fill a void? Is there something that I'm seeking that I'm not currently in or have access to that may require some effort or skill or sacrifice? Because what I want to say to people, there's two different types of people. There are people who are born into situations with an extremely incredible amount of assets and resources, and there's people like myself who are born into circumstances and situations where it is not always readily available, where it is not always accessible, which means you then need to figure out how does society function in front of you to get towards the thing that you most want to do or find and make happen for yourself. It is not easy. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't want people to be held in a sense of fear. Stay fearless. I don't want people to be consumed with a sense of dread because there's this unknown factor between them and what it is they hope to accomplish. The unknown will be revealed. You just got to be willing to take your time to get through it, however your time looks. And it's and the determining factors of success, you get to define it every step of the way. For me, it's breaking the limits and boundaries of gravity as it's been put in front of me, right? On top of so many other things, but I make it that high because I want to see how far I can go. Because I know, as insane as crazy it might be for some, as impossible as it is for those, I don't see that. I see I'm possible in every measure of the way.
That's right.
I'm not one to get lost in the sauce. And if I do, I'm just hoping the sauce had a great flavor because it's a choice at the end of the day. That's probably like the hardest thing for people to even realize. Like heaven and hell is a choice. Some people, they start off, they have no choice. And there's a point where you have to realize you have a choice. You might not have a choice right now, but at some point you will have a choice. At some point you will. That is the hardest thing for most people to accept, to grasp, to fathom is that you have an actual choice in this all. It's one of those things where most people will get lost in the fact that what's in front of them becomes the whole reality without using their imagination to tap into a future, right? Just like you said it. Was it that I had a vision of who I will be, or is it that I had memories of what I will become? It's so important that we understand that space and time, everything is happening in the now. I am creating the past as I'm creating the future. That is literally the present moment. That is all we have. And
Right.
it's hard for people to accept that and see that because more times than enough, they'll be so consumed with the past that they forget that they're still creating the future. Or they look so far into the future that they forget what they've done to get to here now. And the reason why I'm saying that is because that choice, right? To realize that you have a choice in this moment, that there will be a moment where you will have a choice. There's choices and decisions happening at every interval of every moment of every day. The most important ones that I've come to find for myself, and maybe this might be the same for all of y'all, is how I am with myself, the relationship I have with myself, the communication that I have with myself, and understanding what I need for myself. Those things become centerpiece. They become the core. How I talk to myself? Do I love myself? Do I tell myself that I love myself? Am I engaging in a healthy practice when I may be in an environment that is very unhealthy? Am I even aware of that? Is this podcast the intervention for someone to even think of those concepts? Is it the counselor, the teacher? Is it the friend? Is it the relationship? Is it the book? Is it the movie? What is that moment when you find it? And when you do, are you willing to take a chance to explore and figure it out? Because, yeah, is it that I'm imagining what's to come, or am
Mm.
I just remembering what will be? There's such a like, yeah, Al flowing for the win. Jonathan
That's
came through again and said, sounding like Jefferson Pearson, Black Lightning. Nice.
mm,
What you gonna do with it? Live it by any means necessary. By any means provokes the thought of Malcolm X, right? So we got the Rock Never Stops coming through too. You taking me to church right now? I mean,
hey,
look, it ain't even church as much as it is us having a conversation to our souls. I'm speaking to my soul as I speak to yours. When I talk about heaven and hell being a choice, that is literally the choice that we talking about every moment of the day. Oh, bro, I'm finna get it. I'm finna make it happen. I'm finna do this. Watch what I'm finna do. I'm finna come up. I'm finna make this move. I'm trying to reach some level of release from harm,
right.
harmony, right? Am I trying to get to a place where I'm getting some pressure let off? I'm finna go sip this drink. Hey, you finna come kick it with me? Hey, we finna go light up. And I'm finna go over to her house, right? I'm finna slide through with my people. I'm finna go get this plate of food, right? I don't never hear nobody say I'm finna go step in this dog doo doo. I'm finna go get my window bipped, right?
They say
We
I'm about
we
to go to work.
right. We gonna project and we gonna say we gonna talk, right? We gonna say things with the manifestation of what we are trying to access, what we're trying to accomplish, right? So, yeah, if it means talking about who we are and our most pure sense of self, by all means, we're gonna take it to church. Because the space is for healing. The space is for us to come together as people to be seen, to be validated, to be praised, to be uplifted, to illuminate who we are as people because we're important. We're all important. We all have the ability or the capability of so much more. And unfortunately, we live in a society and a world that so many times in so many ways is trying to take that away from you, is trying to prevent you from accessing, right? It's really, to me, it's about accessibility, from being able to
Yeah.
access the core of who you are by creating all these layers that then separate you from your truest self. Whereas for
Ooh.
me, I wear my heart on my head. I guess I'm hard headed. This is what I lead with. So by all times, I got a reminder of what it's about: love and peace, as Vasha Stampede would say.
Man, I think it's so important, that you touched on not just like the intentionality of, you know, you leading with your heart, or the fact that it is church, right? Because of our communal intentionality, right? To connect to what makes us divine, um, what makes us special, what makes us holy, what makes us cosmic, what makes us blessed, right? And not just for myself, right? Or my spirit or my soul, right? But to yours and to all who's listening, right? To so that there's an exchange and that we don't worship each other, right? We worship, right, the divinity within each other, right? That I am not apart from the creator, right? It's like God created me, but he didn't leave me as he created me. He didn't remove himself from me. Um, right. I was I wasn't extradited from from holiness. And so, right, I have to reconcile in myself, right, within my journey that I'm right, like I have to reconcile myself that I am already a part of, right, this creation, right, this the same power that created the tree, right, allows me to grow, right? Where science is how, right? I got a different engine that processes food differently. The trees got a different engine that's processing food differently. But we both designed to grow and we both designed to recreate. And the tools that I use, right, allow me to, right, propagate more trees. The tools that the tree uses allows it to propagate more trees, right? But I can also produce differently, right? And that's the ability for me to be a creative, right? That resembles the creator, right? The image of the creators that I can create too, that we can create too, right? So when I say I say I mean we, right? I am not talking about me different than you, right? When I talk about my uniqueness, right? I am honoring your uniqueness that we are, right? Not just similar, but we're familiar. Oh, the new one needs a battery. Yes.
How they get me, man? This how they get me.
Ah, ooh, that new one needs a battery. It ain't cut out for this just yet. We gonna be all right though. And if you watching online, if you're watching live or you're watching a recording, the 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 new tech just got bipped. Miss didn't get the full charge. So Cineo will be returning visually, but he is here with us in the audio, which I think suits him in so many ways. Uh, but as I honor right who I am here in Black, the Rock Never Stops says here in Black Men Speak on this plane affirms my godness in so many ways. Appreciate the conversation. The Rock Never Stops also says the same power that created the tree allows me to grow. That's right. We we are so connected to like the magnificent power of this earth. I think that we like again we've forgotten more than we know, uh, and so much more has been hidden from us. And I think if you set that intention to learn, um, right, just like when you change your uh, change your location and you start to eat different foods, um, the same can happen for your mind and your heart. And I think that's something that we want to encourage everyone to do is right open their mind and heart to new information that you may be fed differently than you have been, that you may grow differently than you've been growing. Um, so that you are not stagnant. And as creatives, right, we all have stories. And oh, I just figured out today that my I can't even tell y'all. I can't even tell y'all yet. I can't even tell you about this new thing. It's later in life. Um, yeah, we gonna run it for you later. It's later. It's it's exciting. It's an exciting thing. Um, I appreciate you all. I use Cliffhanger was a good movie, and that's where I gotta be right now. Sylvester Stallone, do what you can to get across the cavern, but we gotta stop it with the cliffhanger.
The Rock Never Stops also said the same power that created the tree allows me to grow. And it's so true. We we are all in this together. As divine and as godly as we are intertwined, connected, the spectrum and infiniteness of power. I want, if you can, to remember every grain of sand, every face you see, every tree in your way, because it speaks to the unlimited boundlessness that we are on this earth, this planet. And yet the variation, variety, the spectrum of all these different things in front of us only shines and illuminates the divine in every way. So as we are on that cliffhanger, Affluent, any final thoughts, words for people on this episode 92 of the Lyrical Ones podcast?
Know your roots, grow them deep, grow them wide, and make sure that you are finding the most nutritious version of what you need because you are responsible for your growth even at the youngest age, you are voicing your opinion about what you need. And as you gather more language to express your need, as you gather more language to acquire what you need, acknowledge and accept what you need, stay honest with yourself, and be unrelenting as you seek exactly what you need to grow. 9-2.
9-2. As often as this time permits. We do it like this.
One, 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 one.